For day 2 notes, we're talking about relations and functions. So a relation is like this graph that I give you or some just random equation, and you've got to tell me about it, okay? So if you look at like ordered pairs, it's the pairing of numbers in one set called the domain, with the numbers in another set called the range. A relation is often represented as a set of ordered pairs. So if you look at an ordered pair, x, y, you should know that the first number is always x, second number is always y. So the domain is your x value, and the y, or the range, is your y value. You also can refer to this as input-output. So the possible values of the input of a relation or a function, and then the range would be the possible values of the output, or you could think of it as the y variable of a relation or function. So if you look down here at your domain, I'm looking at all my x's, okay? So all my x's are my domain. I have them highlighted here, the first number in all the ordered pairs. And you want to write them from least to greatest. So all 4 numbers, I have 4 numbers written from least to greatest. My range would be my y's, and that would be the second number listed. So here I've got 7, 12, and 2, and another 2. So in order from least to greatest, I would do 2 first. I don't need to write it again because it's repeating. And then I would do 7 and then 12. So I want to know, is this a function? Yes, it is a function. And the reason is because x's did not repeat. And I know this is notes, so this might be good to write on your notes. It doesn't say that you have to explain, but it's just good information for you to know. Okay, and then in the second example there, again, domain is your x's. So in order from least to greatest, it looks like we're going to go -6, -2, -1, 4. And then for your range, which is your y's, we have -3, 0, 3, and 6. So is this one a function? And the answer again is yes. Same reason. The x's here did not repeat. For example 2, this right here is called a mapping diagram, and usually there are titles here. So the first title we're going to write in is domain. Sometimes you will see it written input or x. Over here, this will be your range. And then you would see that be the output or the y. You can have either titles, okay? So first we had to label the domain and the range on the mapping diagram, so we did that. 2, you want to list your domain. And so we were using yellow for domain earlier, up here. Okay, so these are my domain. Okay. And those are your x's. So in order from least to greatest, they're already written in order, which is a characteristic you should see in a mapping diagram. They should be listed in order, least to greatest. And I use commas to separate the numbers, since it's a list of numbers. The range, that is your y value. Okay, so we're going to use orange for y's. Okay, but please note I didn't highlight the 2 because The 2 doesn't have a line going to it, so that 2 is just extra information. So I do need to write down 3, 5, 6, and 9. And then because it's called a mapping diagram, you would say 1 goes to 9. That's the same thing as saying 1 maps to 9. So that's my first ordered pair. 1 maps to 9. 3 maps to 3. 5 maps to 6. 7 maps to 5. And lastly, 9 maps to 6.